What if the secret to keeping your brain young isn't hidden in expensive pills or fancy supplements? What if it's actually hiding in your community, waiting for you to discover it? Recent research just cracked the code. Here's the stunning truth. Helping others genuinely slows brain aging. Researchers tracked over 30,000 adults for 2 whole decades. They discovered something incredible. People who volunteered or helped neighbors regularly showed 15 to 20% slower cognitive decline. That's massive. But here's the kicker. You don't need to dedicate your entire life to it. Just 2 to 4 hours weekly unlocked these brain-boosting benefits. Think about that. 2 to 4 hours. That's less time than binge-watching your favorite show. Whether you're volunteering at a food bank, helping an elderly neighbor with groceries, or tutoring a kid down the street, your brain gets stronger. The benefits stack up year after year, creating a protective shield against memory loss and cognitive decline. This isn't just hope. This is solid science backed by data from the Health and Retirement Study. Helping others literally rewires your brain for better thinking, sharper memory, and healthier aging. Your brain needs a purpose. Your community needs your help. This is how you win at both.
Here's where the science gets fascinating. When you help others, your brain undergoes a powerful shift. Research reveals that volunteering activates neural pathways related to problem solving, learning, and decision-making. It's like placing your mind in a gymnasium where cognitive muscles strengthen with each act of service. The data points to something remarkable. People engaging consistently in helping behaviors show a 15 to 20% slower rate of cognitive decline. That's not a minor advantage. Think about what that means for your future. If you remain cognitively active through helping, you're essentially building cognitive reserve, a protective buffer against memory loss and mental decline. What makes this unique is the timing requirement. Just light, casual engagement isn't enough. The research shows that 2 to 4 hours weekly of focused helping creates genuine neurobiological changes. This isn't about sporadic acts of kindness. It's about sustained commitment that reshapes how your brain functions over time. The magic happens through consistency, not intensity. Your brain rewards dedication. Scientists call this cumulative benefit. Each act builds on the previous one, creating a compounding effect that becomes progressively stronger year after year. This is an investment in your cognitive future that literally costs nothing but your time.
But here's what demands our attention. The world is facing a devastating surge in cognitive impairment. Dementia cases are exploding. In just 2022, 55 million people worldwide were living with dementia. Fast forward 8 years to 2030, and that number balloons to 75 million. By mid-century, in 2050, we're projecting 131 million people battling this disease. That's not a gradual increase, that's a crisis trajectory. Alzheimer's disease drives most of these cases. Right now, 6.9 million Americans aged 65 and older are suffering from it. And here's the financial reality shaking healthcare systems globally. The economic burden? $305 billion spent in 2020 alone. Experts predict that cost will triple by 2050. Healthcare systems, families, and entire nations are drowning in costs they can't sustain. The burden extends beyond money. It's psychological. It's relational. Families fracture under the weight of caregiving. Communities crumble under the strain. This is why prevention isn't optional anymore. This is why what we learned matters. This is why action is imperative.
So what exactly is pro-social behavior? Science defines it as intentional actions aimed at benefiting others. These actions stem from varied sources: empathy, social responsibility, or simply cultural values. But not all pro-social acts look the same. Researchers categorize them into 2 distinct types. First, formal volunteering, structured engagement. You're working with organizations. Think food banks, hospitals, educational programs. These involve planned commitments, scheduled hours, and official arrangements. You know what to expect. The second type is informal helping. This is different, unstructured, spontaneous, direct support given to people you know, family members, neighbors, friends, giving someone a ride to a medical appointment, helping prepare a meal, picking up groceries. These everyday acts of kindness happen naturally without formal organization. What makes this distinction matter? Both contribute to community strength, both support individual well-being, yet they operate differently in how people experience them and benefit from them. Understanding this split is crucial because the research shows they impact cognitive health in notably distinct ways.
Imagine examining two paths of brain aging. One stays the same trajectory downward, the other diverges upward. That difference between cognitive capacity and decline rate separates major research discoveries. When people adopt lifestyle changes, something remarkable happens. Their thinking sharpens immediately. But the bigger revelation involves deceleration. The brain doesn't just maintain its current ability. The speed of mental decay itself slows. This matters profoundly. A person at high functioning who sustains that level through intervention preserves advantages year after year. The Pointer trial, a rigorous randomized experiment, documented exactly this. Participants showed cognitive improvements matching their expected loss from aging. Lifestyle modifications aren't temporary boosts, they fundamentally alter aging trajectories.
Think of helping like medicine. Tiny doses do little. Gradual increases build benefits. Then something remarkable happens. You hit a sweet spot where rewards peak. 2 to 4 hours weekly represents that plateau. But here's the paradox most people miss. Keep escalating beyond this, the curve inverts. Excessive commitment creates stress, triggers burnout, and paradoxically destroys the very satisfaction that made helping meaningful. Research shows this sigmoid pattern emerges consistently across volunteers. The response climbs, stabilizes beautifully at moderate engagement, then deteriorates under overcommitment. Your well-being peaks within boundaries, not beyond them. Quality matters far more than quantity in helping work. Formal volunteering creates something informal helping cannot: structured purpose. Organizations provide scaffolding. Research reveals this organization matters profoundly. Mortality rates decline. Physical capability improves dramatically. Depression lessens. The body doesn't just think better, it functions better. But here's where structure amplifies everything: cognition. The Pointer study tracked older adults in structured lifestyle programs. 2 years later, cognitive improvements matched the entire expected decline from aging. Memory sharpened, processing speed accelerated, problem-solving deepened. Organization transforms occasional helping into cognitive investment. When helping has structure, goals, community oversight, the brain engages more completely. Formal volunteering doesn't just aid recipients, it reconstructs the volunteer's biology and mind.
Small, ordinary acts of kindness pack extraordinary power. When you help someone outside your home, something shifts in your brain. The data reveals an astonishing truth. Sustained, informal support builds cognitive strength that compounds year after year. Think of it as a compounding investment in your own mind. 2 to 4 hours weekly is the sweet spot where brains thrive most. Yet here's what matters most. Stop helping and your cognitive function suffers. Se Huang Han from the University of Texas put it perfectly. Withdrawing from helping is associated with worse function. Engagement is key. This isn't subtle. The research shows 15 to 20% less cognitive decline when people maintain this helping rhythm. Your brain doesn't just stay the same, it actively thrives through pro-social connection. Your brain possesses something called cognitive reserve, a neurological cushion built through healthy habits. Think of it like financial savings for your mind. When you help others consistently, you're not just feeling good momentarily, you're constructing mental stamina, the psychological endurance required to navigate life's complexities without cognitive collapse. 2 decades of health and retirement study data tracking 31,303 participants revealed something profound. Benefits don't plateau, they accelerate. Year 5 shows gains. Year 10 compounds them. Year 20 demonstrates exponential cognitive advantages for people who maintained their help and commitment. Those who sustained engagement, their cognitive advantages grew progressively greater, not diminishing. This isn't linear improvement. This is architectural change. Your brain rewires itself through sustained pro-social behavior, building resilience that protects against the inevitable challenges of aging. Stop helping, and your brain pays a price. Data shows withdrawal accelerates cognitive decline faster than you'd expect. Once you stop, cognitive function drops sharply. But here's what makes this asymmetric. Narratives shape whether you help in the first place. Positive stories about helping and negative stories favoring selfishness don't have equal power. They reshape perception without directly forcing behavior. You can't simply tell people helping is good. The narrative must address why disengagement feels rational when it actually harms brain health. Maintaining engagement in some form with appropriate supports is crucial to slow cognitive decline. This insight demands a public health lens for volunteerism and brain health preservation.
Your brain's resilience isn't accidental. 5 interconnected pathways activate when you help others. First, cognitive reserve, your ability to compensate for aging damage through lifetime strategies. Second, the HPA axis regulates stress hormones. Helping dampens chronic stress that damages brain cells. Third, stress reduction triggers neurogenesis and synaptic plasticity. New neurons and strengthened connections form. Fourth, social engagement directly stimulates neural circuits, boosting cognitive function. Fifth, immune balance. Chronic inflammation erodes cognition, but helping modulates immunity, protecting brain cells. These 5 pathways interconnect. Activate one, activate them all. This is why helping works. It's not willpower or routine, it's biology.
Research shows helping slows cognitive decline. Translating that into action requires strategy. 4 pathways unlock real-world change. First, multi-component intervention programs. Evidence-based efforts combining education campaigns, screening, and policy changes demonstrate economic value. Second, promoting pro-social behaviors. Fostering cooperation requires setting clear expectations. Third, community engagement. Local organizations collaborate to define health priorities and implement strategies where people live. Fourth, tailored senior policy. These policies address cognitive health challenges and ensure comprehensive support reaches those who need it. Together, these pathways create infrastructure for brain aging. The science is clear, the solutions are known. Practitioners, communities, and policymakers must act.
Making helping sustainable requires removing barriers. 4 practical strategies unlock access for diverse volunteers. First, flexible scheduling. Offer scheduling options and use efficient tools to accommodate older adults with different availability. Participation soars when people can help on their terms. Second, recognition and stipends. Acknowledge contributions formally and offer compensation when possible. This boosts morale and keeps volunteers engaged long-term. Third, social support networks. Create opportunities for volunteers to connect, share stories, and build community. Mutual support becomes the glue that sustains participation. Fourth, sustainable programs. Develop robust initiatives with clear goals and consistent support systems. Long-term infrastructure ensures helping becomes routine, not burden. The strategy is clear. Remove obstacles, provide support, celebrate contributions, build community. When you make helping accessible, people help. When people help, brains age slower.
Not everyone can volunteer the same way. 4 strategies ensure helping opportunities reach everyone, regardless of ability. First, adapt for health limitations. Offer accessible roles and flexible start and stop times. This allows people with chronic conditions, mobility challenges, or cognitive differences to contribute. Second, inclusive environments. Create equitable spaces and support people with developmental disabilities. Third, virtual options. Remote volunteering expands access far beyond physical locations, reaching homebound or isolated adults. Fourth, accessible program design. Develop strategies and policies that prioritize inclusion from the start, with staff trained to support diverse participants. When we remove barriers, more people help. When more people help, more brains benefit. Helping is a right, not a privilege. Your brain doesn't need permission to thrive, it needs purpose. Here's how to claim it. First,
Anchor helping into your daily rhythm. Dedicate time for self-reflection. Journal or meditate. Weave altruistic thinking into decisions you already make. Small acts become part of who you are. Second, explore both structured and informal paths. Join a community group, help a neighbor, random kindness counts. Third, commit to consistency. Productivity climbs, community bonds deepen, well-being expands. The payoff compounds each year. Fourth, spread the spark. Lead by example. Invite others to volunteer alongside you. Awareness multiplies impact. The science is clear. 2 to 4 hours weekly slows cognitive aging measurably. Your brain doesn't just function better, it ages slower. The time to start isn't tomorrow, it's now. Helping others isn't a luxury for those with surplus time, it's a health strategy you deserve.
Subscribe to BioTuber Online and unlock unlimited potential to improve every aspect of your health. Find real solutions for weight loss, blood sugar management, heart health, and mental resilience. Plus, science-driven answers for balancing hormones, boosting immunity, supporting healthy aging, optimizing digestion, managing pain, and preventing chronic disease. Learn to recharge your energy, enhance sleep, sharpen memory, and build strength through trusted fitness routines and nutrition plans grounded in the latest medical research. Explore topics like gut health, stress reduction, inflammation control, women's wellness, men's health, skincare, mindful living, reproductive health, bone and joint care, and integrative therapies. No matter your age or goal, this channel simplifies cutting-edge studies and expert insights, offering practical tips for total wellness, physical, emotional, and social. Join the BioTuber Online community for step-by-step guidance, actionable strategies, and daily motivation you can rely on. Subscribe now for evidence-based content and never miss an opportunity to thrive in every area of your life.